This is the Platinum Podcast.
Welcome to the Platinum Podcast, mate.
Thank you.
You're here.
Thank you for having me.
Mate, absolute pleasure. Yeah, I'm in Bali, man. Have you been here before, have you?
Yeah, we spent 8 weeks there back in 2019. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. All the family loved it. To the point where we were on the cusp of buying some land and looking to build there. And then we were in America. Claire fell pregnant with our third. And it was just too much going on. We just needed a little bit more security closer to home. So we settled for the UK. But it's the dream. I mean, we'll definitely be there one day, whether it's just me and Claire or whether it's us as a fan, we'll definitely be there. But yeah, I absolutely love the place.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, man. I mean, I'm thinking of heading over where you're at. I'm planning to come over to Mexico. Obviously, James, my business partner, he's over there at the moment.
Yeah.
And, I was thinking about heading that way. I want to get a change. You know what it's like. I mean, Bali is beautiful. It's amazing. I want for nothing, but there's that little part of me, the traveler inside me, just wants to go and do something new, you know, and mix it up a little bit. But I can't help but think it's going to be hard to find somewhere better than Bali. I know different's always good, but Bali's amazing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We were in the same boat. We were in the UK back in, when did we leave? February time. And it was the same feeling. And we're so used to fast-paced travel that we've now been in Mexico sort of 8 weeks and got the same itchy feet. I mean, I love it. It's nice to be aware. I know that we live a really good life, but we work better as a family when we're occupied and when we're moving and when we're working consistently and constantly. I think all of us start to get on each other's nerves a bit when we're grounded for too long.
That's normally the opposite way around. Most people is like, as soon as they're moving, everything's getting a little bit stressful. That's when they start getting at each other. They settle and it's a little bit all right.
Yeah. No, complete opposite. Yeah, complete opposite.
I've got to ask, so how long have you guys been traveling? So just to give some context, obviously you travel full time with your family, right?
As close to full time as we possibly could. So I still work a 9 till 5. Although I'm away more than I'm in. I'm very lucky, I suppose, if you're going to have a 9 till 5 and you're going to be climbing a corporate ladder per se, it's good to do that in a business that supports you and I mean things that you want to do outside of just that work environment. So I'm lucky to work with a company that has supported me on several occasions. One with a sabbatical, so they allowed me to take 12 months off. Wow. And that was back in 2017, 2018. So that was the first time that we left. We did full 12 months travel. I went back, made a load of holidays. I managed to buy some more holidays. So every month we were in a new country. So we saw more countries in the year that I worked than the year that I had off, which was really cool. Then COVID hit. And like most, we didn't do an awful lot. And now I'm on a long-term paternity leave. So I've taken a shared paternity leave. So I've had 7 months off. So we've used this time to get it away again. But yeah, we're consistently traveling. It's what we live for. I think it's and also it's now become, at the start it was a hobby, it was a pleasure, it was something about traveling the world per se. But now it's more, it's a business, and now we have to we do it because it brings in an income for us. And we're very lucky to even in this current climate, with the pandemic, to be able to work and travel at the same time. So we're very, very lucky.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's earned, man. I think I believe in luck, but I'd also believe that you make your own luck. And I think you've made this a reality for you, for sure. I love that your company's been so lenient and giving you paternity leave. I love that. What kind of company do you work for? What do you do?
I work. So I lead a go-to-market. So marketing, bringing new products to the business for Virgin Media, so all telecom. So beginning of this year, I launched 5G with Virgin, and I've been with them for 8 years. Way back when we had our second child, Maddie was being born, and I started with the company and started right at the bottom. It couldn't get any lower, sales executive. And I took the job because I needed to take the job because when you're a parent, you just do what you got to do. I sort of sacked off pride and thought, shit, I just need to make some money. So that's where I start. And give everything to that job just to be in a position where I am now. But that, I mean, it came at a sacrifice. I was gone when the kids woke up. The kids were in bed when I come home. My days off weren't my days off. I was either in work or I was struggling to recharge the batteries after a 6-day week. So they didn't see me. So I mean, that 12 months that we had off was needed for my sake, but also our family's sake. So yeah, like I said, I'm very lucky that they allowed me to have that time off. Originally, I just quit. I handed in my notice. I said, this is what we're going to do. I need this. My family needs it. And it wasn't until probably about 8 weeks prior to us leaving that they offered me to keep my role open, keep my job open, which was, yeah, it was unexpected, but a massive relief. It sort of give us that safety net of whatever happened in the next 12 months, win, lose, fail, then we had something to come back to.
I love that. They've kind of created that safe container for you. Okay, you can go off and explore, but there's still something here for you in 12 months.
To come back and do you know what? I think anybody in that environment right now, I think if one good thing, if there's a silver lining of COVID, I think that all industries are more open to that working from home environment. And who's to say that you have to be in the UK or you have to be in your country where that your head office is booked? As long as you can be productive and do your job, I think more companies are now buying into the idea, actually, it costs us less. There's less on an expense cost. There's less on putting these people in the office. So I'm hoping if anything will come of COVID, it'll just create more opportunity to be able to do what we're doing. But ultimately, like many people, the end game for us is to retire early and to sack the boss. I've made that clear to Virgin.
I love the honesty. Just so you know, guys, I really appreciate it. I can't wait to fuck you off as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah, no, mate. It is what it is. I think we live in that society now. I think everyone's plan. I want to retire at 50, but at first mine was that it'd be great to retire at 60. Then it's 55. Then it's 50. And think actually we could do it at 45, 40. And now, if there's the new blood. I say that like I'm an oldie. I'm not an oldie, but I just feel there's a younger generation than me now that just gets it more than I get it. Which is inspiring. I wish that I had, I suppose that's the only negative about me. Claire, my wife, who worked tirelessly hard on our business, a lot more than I am, is more set up to be her own boss. She's more mentally prepared for that. Whereas I tell me what to do and I'll do a really good job, but she's got that motivation and that outside the box thinking that she'll just do it. Which I think, yeah, if you can have, that's one thing that we try and instill in our children. If you can have that, it's something that schools don't teach you. Like a good example, like my eldest, while we're away, we're quite laxed on homeschooling. We get asked that question all the time, and to be honest, it doesn't. I haven't got the patience for it. But what I will do is I'll just set them a target of going, right, get this done, and then you can go bugger off in the pool or do what it is you've got to do. My eldest will get up at 5:30, 6 a.m., get his work done by 7 by the time that I wake up, and then he's off doing his own thing. So I think, already that they've instilled that sort of mindset of just get the job done and then they can do what they want. So, it works. It works for us. It works for them.
I love that, man. I think it's kind of just begin with the end in mind, right? You're just trying to, what's the actual end result that you want to get here?
Yeah.
I don't really care how you get there or what you do. Just get it done, and then you can go and do what you want with your life. That's kind of that's the ethos that we have at Platinum University as well. It's just like, look, what's the end result that you really want here? Do you want to travel? Do you want to spend more time at home with your family? I hope you guys are enjoying this episode of the Platinum Podcast, brought to you by Platinum University, the real life school of mindset, online business, and financial independence. Platinum University teaches you everything conventional education didn't. We're helping thousands of people create multiple passive income streams that create more money, time, and freedom. We literally guide you through every step of the process with the help of our in-house experts and our powerful, like-minded community groups. To get 35% off your monthly subscription and permanently lock in the discounted price of $39.99, and also get access to all of our mindset, Forex, dropshipping, stocks, crypto, network marketing, and Airbnb content, visit the link in the description to join.
It's freedom, isn't it? I think loads of people go for, my goal was always financial freedom, but that doesn't mean having tons of money in the bank. It means having enough to be able to do and make decisions that you want to make, that you're not controlled by what society tells you is the norm or what you're led to believe is the norm. Because mum and dad did it, Nan and Gramp did it, my brother and sisters are doing it. It's just, it gives you that freedom to do exactly what you want. For us, that's travel. It always has been. We're in a position now where we don't have to live so frugal and we don't have to make so many financial sacrifices. But in the beginning, we sold everything, absolutely everything. We moved out of the apartment. I sold my dream car. Claire got a job as a cleaner as well as the side business. Like, we did absolutely everything that we could do to get as much money in the bank to give us that platform to then, launch pad us into where we are today. And I think, like I said, luckily enough, we're not there anymore. And we're not, there's nothing wrong with being a cleaner, but we don't have to make those sacrifices anymore. We can live a very nice life, but we still do it on a budget. We don't live beyond our means. And I think I think if anything, over the last sort of 4 years, as I've matured and now as we've traveled, it's sort of switching the mentality of, what do I need rather than what do I want? And as long as the family are here with me whilst we do that, then that's all we need. Good health and a pool
and a good bit of sun to complement it.
And a good bit of sun, yeah.
I love that. I really love the mentality. As soon as you reached out to me on Instagram, I had a quick scroll through and I was just like, I love what you're doing. I just loved it because I've always wanted to travel. I've obviously been able to do so for quite a few years now. And whenever I have a family, not there yet. Hopefully, the girlfriend's not pregnant just yet. But when it happens, like, I don't want to be restricted. I don't believe that I should have to do the whole, settle down, get a house with a white picket fence, go buy myself a dog,
Yeah.
And when I see people like yourself that have just like packed up and left, you've done it at the real risky time. It's not like you're already traveling and then you've got the kids. It's like you've done it with the whole family. And I think the balls that takes to kind of take those kind of risks is inspirational. I'd love to know what was going through your mind at first when you decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. What were like the fears and stuff that started popping up?
Oh, tons. I'll take you right back because I think
please do.
We were sat. I had a friend of ours, my age. I'm 32 this year, so this is going back maybe 4 years ago. So what? 28 years of age. He was in the SAS, and he sadly passed. He passed away. And me and Claire, my wife, we were at his funeral, and it was the most inspiring thing I've ever been to. It's such a damning time. Funerals are never nice, but it was just one of those moments where, like goose pimples, when they read out his eulogy and went through everything that he had achieved in his I say short career, it was actually a long career. He'd been in the army since he was 16, but he had done so much. And we drove home, and it was inspiring to the level that it actually made me depressed, as in, fuck, when I die, what are they going to say about me? And literally nothing. That's how I felt there. On a comparison to him and what he had achieved and the family that he had had. And that's why, me and Claire talked about traveling for years, but like exactly what you just said then. We had kids, and then you're led to believe that that's them for retirement. You park those dreams, you wait for your children grow up, and then you get to live your life. And we just looked at each other and went, well, let's go traveling. And we were like, what? And it was just one of the, and me and Claire have always been like that. We got married within 4 months of knowing each other. It was we were lying in bed with each other. Claire had a 6-month trip to Australia planned. I had a boys' holiday at Magaluf planned in the July. Neither of us wanted to do them. And I was like, well, let's just get married in July. And that's it. We got married. And within about four weeks of Claire saying yes, we found out she was pregnant, and then and so on. And then it just moved. So that we was like, let's go traveling. And that's how it happened. So Claire, I'm more of a numbers guy. I get my spreadsheet out. How much is it going to take us to be able to do this? Where Claire was quite clever in the way, but we can actually make this work. There was a family, it's a bucket list family, really well known on Instagram. They made this a living. Millions of followers now, very, very successful family. And she was like, we could do that. Why can't we do that? And at first I was like, nah, let's just go traveling. Let's just enjoy it for what it is. But Claire was adamant that we can make something of it, or at least try. And that's exactly what we did. So we planned the trip out. The trip wasn't organized around, let's grow an Instagram following, let's create a business out of this. How can we do that? It was more of, let's do what we want to do. And if it comes, it comes. Claire's background was in videography and documentary film. So we started just making our own videos whilst we were away. And then an hotel contacted us while we were in Malaysia and was like, do you want to make a video for us? And we made one video for one hotel. And we didn't pay for an hotel for the next 10 months. It was as if like we just like unlocked, just had some magic key, and we didn't do anything special, nothing at all. We offered a service that at the time somebody wanted, and we leveraged that as best as we could. It was like door-to-door sales is how it was. We knew what location we wanted to be in. We knocked on loads of doors through email and through direct messaging on Instagram. We had a ton of no's, but all it took was one hotel to say, yes, we'd like that video. How much? Come and stay with us for 3-4 nights. And we spent the next 10 months just doing that. And then, that's continued. I mean, 4 years on, and we're now working with some of the biggest tourism brands. We're literally in 2 weeks' time, we'll leave in Mexico to travel into the States. We're working with Visit USA, Visit Miami, Visit Orlando. You know, all these amazing things that, for me, was just, I didn't even think about it 4 years ago. It was all Claire's baby and Claire's idea. I can't take any credit for it, and she'd be here now with me, but she's nursing our baby. But yeah, so that's how it started, and that's where it went. And I'd like to think now, if I dropped that in front of you now, Joe, that I'd have something better. Somebody would say something better than what they would have 4 years ago about me. And that was the goal.
Mate, rest assured on that one. I've got some good stuff to say. Right. I respect the hustle first and foremost. I love the hustle. I love the balls. I always talk about big, fat, hairy balls is what I'd call that. Especially with the family. It takes balls to do it on your own. Like me, myself, my founders and all that, we did that. That's what we did. It's one thing to do it by yourself and you've only got to look after yourself. To do it when you've got a missus and you've got kids, and to take that kind of risk in search of something better, in search of something more, that's a real testament to your character and your missus as well. Like the pair of you, I think you're epic. I think that's.
Thank you, man.
I honestly think it's truly inspirational, which is exactly why I wanted you on here, because I believe there's so many people right now that will be watching this who probably have kids, and they are already in the belief system that it's not possible. They already believe that, okay, this is me now. Like you said, until they're 18, my life's over, and you completely stand against that. And that's what I love. That's what Platinum University loves. I hate these systems where we're forced into a set of beliefs that stop us living our lives at our to our best potential. And you completely stand in opposition to that. I love it.
Cheers, man. But no, I think it's so easy though, isn't it? I think like, even when we left, even our biggest supporters now, like my mum, my dad, in their eyes, we were doing wrong. I mean, it was still, are you sure? Is this the right thing? Do you not want? What about the kids? And it all come down to the kids. I think, like you said, if it's just you, you're a couple, then there's less risk. I mean, you look after yourselves, but a lot of it comes down to the kids. But you know what? If anybody is watching this with children and thinking about the same thing, or thinking about doing anything, but then nervous of what impact it has on their children, ours are 10 times the kids that they were 4 years ago. I mean, their confidence, their knowledge of the world, things that you don't get taught in school. We were 2 months into that first trip, and my mum's a teacher's aide. She texted me. She was like, "I was a schoolwork going. Are you making sure you're on top of it?" Just to let you know that Kalen, who's my eldest, his year in my school are learning about volcanoes in this term. So that's great, Mum, because we've just got a quad bike and we're going up an active volcano in the Philippines right now. and that just put it into context. So it's like they could be reading it in a book, but no, they're out there and they've experienced it. And I just mean it. Like just to skip ahead loads at the minute. So when I was lying in bed literally 3 or 4 nights ago, and I was on one of my apps, and I was looking at my crypto coins. And Kayla, my son, he was like, "What's that?" So I give him the very top line, and I'm no expert honestly, Joe, I lean on the knowledge from this community more than anything. I mean, and so I give him my take on it, which is probably bollocks. And I did say I watered it down a lot. I babied it because that's how I'm remembering it. But he was like, well, I'll just do that. That's where I'll go. His actually words were, I'll go to university just to do that. I could do this and then earn this.
You can help that.
I was like, yeah. And that's their thinking now. I mean, things that they don't learn in school. And like I said, it's not, but aside from platinum and the stuff that he's seeing what I do, but just in general life at the minute. I mean, we spent 4 days last week up in Chichen Itza, seventh wonder of the world. Again, Caelan's age, and learning about that at the minute in books. And he was sat outside it. I mean, with the biggest grin on his face, chuffed to bits, because he knew that he even wanted to do a little video to send back to his old school teachers to say, look where I am. And that's, I mean, it's, without getting really corny and cheesy, but that's the best thing about being a dad or a parent. It's seeing those moments. And yeah, they're both, and now we've got little Abel, so 7 months old. So we've done this trip with Abel was 4.5 months when we left. So again, people thought we were crazy, but even he has grown so much. I mean, he was a proper lockdown baby. Didn't leave 4 walls until we come out here. Didn't even know who another human being was apart from us lot. And he's seen it all. I'm sure he said hola and gracias the other day, his first words, but I'm not sure.
Man of the world already. I love that. I'd love to backtrack you a little bit, because I think you're in a really powerful position to really help people take those steps if they like the idea, you know. How did you you said that your family were very much thinking you were doing something wrong by taking this decision. What steps did you take to overcome that?
I mean, I've struggled with insecurity, as I call it, rather than self-confidence, because I think confidence is something that you can put on a mask and pretend you're somebody you're not. I mean, I've been able to do that all my life. I think playing sports back when I was younger helped me do that. But I do suffer a lot with insecurity. So when you're stone on that this is the best thing for me, but then other people doubt that or question it. Like for me, it was like a volcano going off in summer. I was like it made me step back and think, shit, is it? And you do. I mean, you do question yourself. I question my motives more than what I was doing. It was more the reasons. It was more, am I being selfish? Is this for me or is this for everybody else? And I would say up until day 2 of actually being away, I still felt that way. I mean, even sat in Heathrow thinking, shit, I mean, this is what I really want, but taking the kids out of school, is it what they want? I mean, pushing this on to Claire, is it really what she wants? And I think communication is key. Like, I'm lucky in a way. I think I think this is where the balance tips. So before you said it's easier if you're a solo, it's only you to think about. But I think in another way that's worse, because if you have got any negative feelings, I mean, the mind it can be the best thing, it can be the worst thing. And I think if it's just you and you're battling those thoughts yourself, I mean, you can be in a dark place. That's not a very nice place unless you've got really high confidence that what you're doing is the best thing for you. I mean, that could eat you up for days, weeks, months. Whereas the benefit I had is that I had another 4 people that I could just go to and be like, is this what you want? Is this really what we want to do? And I mean, the encouragement that I got from those people, and as our following on social media slowly grew, I started to realize that what we was doing might be new to me, but there's a massive community of people out there doing it already, whether they're solos, couples, or families. So that gave me reassurance. And then the odd private message of the tap on the back when you're doing the right thing, the kids are going to love it. I mean, stuff like that. But I think every decision I've ever made, I mean, I've always doubted myself. I think it's natural as human beings. I think that's the fear just trying to rein you in slightly. And I think for me, it was one, having those people around me to ensure that we were doing the right thing, but also just that little bit of self-belief to just think that let's just do it. And also, like risk is a big thing. So what, like the worst thing that could have happened to me, regardless of being offered a sabbatical back then and having my job, is that I would have walked into another job. And that might sound like arrogance, but I would have taken a lesser job, lesser pay, but ensured my family were okay. That was the worst thing that could have happened to me back then. I mean, even now, leaving for Mexico, people, it's coronavirus. Do you really want to be out there now? Do you want to be traveling? And I mean, you can't continue. I mean, we can't live our lives under a fear. I think that's how society leads at the minute. I think that's how our politicians lead. I think you've probably got people watching all over the globe for this, but especially within the UK, I mean, scaremongering is high. It's high. I mean, the media do it perfectly. And I think until you open your eyes and see that there's so much, whether it's traveling or whether any decision you make, there's so much going on. You just got to see it for yourselves rather than what you read. And Google can be a good thing. It can also be the worst thing in the world. And I've said this to my wife for 10 years we've been married. She'll have an headache and Google headaches and come up with, she's got the worst thing in the world. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just the way society is at the minute. And it'll probably be like that for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I couldn't agree more. I think you've now the biggest thing there, which is fear. This is the thing that stops everybody in their tracks. And you've also now the other biggest thing I think is really important for overcoming it, which is working out what the worst case scenario is, and are you equipped to deal with it? Like your worst case scenario in this instance is, okay, I'm going to run out of money. Now what? You're going to get another job. Like this is people, I think, get so lost in the idea of I go somewhere else, I run out of money, I'm in a foreign country, I don't know. It's all these fears of the unknown. But the reality is you can go get a job. You can earn some money, you can eat. You're not going to starve to death. It's not going to happen. There's always going to be a way. And we get so caught up in these ideas and the fear side of things, that we actually completely disregard all the amazing things that you can never intellectualize, you can never imagine. I bet you never would have imagined that you would walk into a hotel, get given a job to film some marketing material for them, and this would then lead to you living in such a way for the next 10 months. No,
never. And Joe, like bad things still happen to us every day. I'm supposed to be like I said, I'm on a shared paternity leave now. Only yesterday I didn't get paid from Virgin. My pay didn't go in. Yeah. So you can imagine when you plan for the month ahead and you think, right, this is the money, this is our budget, this is what we have. Like no money went into my bank yesterday. So today I've spent the phone ringing back and emailing back to the UK to get that sorted. 10 minutes before jumping on this call, our 7-month-old baby fell off the bed, bumped his head. I sent you a voice note, which I hadn't sent straight away because I was like, Joe, this might not be able to happen. And when I got back to the apartment, having taken some money out because I thought we had to go and get a taxi to the hospital, he was okay. And it was just the panic had settled. We'd calmed down and realized, actually, we'll keep an eye on him. He'll be fine. So shit still does definitely go wrong for us and for everybody that does anything. I mean, it's not, life isn't just, sunshines and roses. Yeah. But it's life. That is what it is. I mean, it's how you deal with that stuff in adversity and make sure that you get knocked down, you just get back up again. Everything, I am a firm believer that every fail is just another hurdle to how you succeed, or another education block that you can just start banging in and making your way up. And I just want to put that life isn't always, and definitely isn't always great. I mean, people, we struggle all the time, both personally and professionally, but you make do, you get on, surround yourself with people that have got your back, invest in yourself, and you'll be fine.
I love it. I think you've got a real solid mindset. Everything you're saying resonates with me massively. And they are like the key thought processes that you kind of need to harden yourself against what's going to go on when you travel. I think you're going to have these problems at home as well. You're also going to have them when you travel. You just need to be able to deal with them. What are some of the tools that you guys use as a family? Because I'm sure it must be quite a high pressure environment sometimes when you're traveling. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stressful situations. What would you say allows you guys to operate so cohesively and make it work?
It's a good question. Bribery is a good one, especially with kids. No, all serious. I think we communicate well, I think. what do you mean? And our children are 9, 7, and 7 months, and every decision that we make together. And there's nothing that our children are not involved in. And I think that ensures that whatever we do, that we're all bought into it. I think having our goals and our dreams aligned, and this sounds probably really over the top for a 9 and a 7-year-old. I mean, are they really their dreams, or are they? I mean, but you need to speak to them and meet our children to realize that they love what we do. I mean, and it is work. I'm not gonna fluff it. Like, we do work. I know it sounds great, but our kids are up at 6 a.m. We create content for some of the biggest brands of them. We do that, and to be able to do the best content or the best quality of content, we wake up when nobody else is awake. I mean, because it allows us to be able to work when nobody else is. Having children, especially in a climate like Mexico, it's cooler. So what we do is, it's not easy, and it's not easy for them, but they love it. They absolutely love it. I mean, whether they've got the camera in their hand or whether they're posing, I mean, they take Zoolander, the blue steel, to a whole new level, but they absolutely love it. But yeah, in terms of, I think that's the biggest one for us. Every decision that we make as a family and as a team. That's exactly what we are. Whether it's, we're a family, but we're also a working team. Same as what you would get in Platinum University, the same as what you'd get in any corporate job. That's exactly what we are. And to be able to succeed at any task or at any goal, it needs everybody pulling or pushing in the right direction. And that's exactly what we do as a family. I think we also have I'd probably put down the fears of like mum and dad and nan and gramps because of the unknown. I think the best thing that's come out of us doing what we've done is that it's pushed others that we're really close to out of their comfort zones. And through our travels or through our eyes, they've been able to live a separate life. So now they're ridiculously supportive of what we do. But the best supporting, whether it's, I call it a community, because our social media presence, it's not massive. I mean, and that's another thing, that we haven't got to where we have because we have a huge following. I mean, we've got a very close knit community, but we also make, or we offer a very good product. But having that community with us, that allows us to, and we've made some shit decisions. We had a lot of stick for coming to Mexico during a pandemic, a lot of crap. But we also had a really close-knit community that supported our decision. And I think you're going to get that in every decision you make. But I think main thing is surround yourself with the right people and you'll be fine. And just talk. Yeah, for us, it's been that we're allowed to talk. We talk to each other. I think it's such a key for husband, wife, partner, parent, child. I was going to say lucky. I come from a broken home. So mum and dad split up. Mum remarried. Got 2 different scales of dad. I've got one dad who's still 18 in his head, that would happily take me down the pub when I was 15, which I loved. I mean, it was more like a friend. I had my stepdad that I rarely seen him growing up, but his work ethic was ridiculous. I mean, similar to where I was sort of 4 or 5 years ago. I wouldn't see him through the week. I'd see him one day a week, but he'd give me everything I wanted, whether it was a new pair of trainers or a new coat, whatever it might be. But we never spoke. That's my biggest flaw. We have a great relationship now, but back then we never communicate each other. And I don't just mean the lows, but I think what's key to an happy relationship with anybody is being able to speak about the shit as well as the good, and being able to get across, I'm not liking that, or that I'm not feeling that right now, or can we try that? And I never had that with my parents, and it led to so many arguments when I was growing up, so many. And like I said, I don't have that with my children now. I mean, they would openly tell me I'm being a dick when I'm being a dick, and that's fine. I mean, that is fine with me, because I'd rather that and then speak about it and understand why I'm upsetting them or I'm doing the wrong thing than them grow up thinking he's a dick, but I can't tell him that. So yeah, communication for us is the best thing. I'm planning. Like I said, I'm a sucker for an Excel spreadsheet. Claire loves Google. So those two combined means that, we're always about 4 steps ahead. It's always worst case scenario, just in case.
You've got those allocated jobs. You've got very clear, defined roles. You're in charge of Google. I'm in charge of the spreadsheets. Between us, we've got this.
It's when it comes down to who's in charge of the passport and then no fucker picks them up. That's when we struggle.
The youngest. Abel's in charge of that. That's a new job. He's employed. I think what you say, what you're saying really resonates with me. Communication is absolutely huge for me. And I think when you talk about being able to have those tough conversations, it is absolutely crucial. And I think the beautiful thing is the only way you can have those difficult conversations is when you create a container where you understand that you all love each other. When it's all very clear that you all love each other and you've got each other's best interests at heart, that puts you in a position where you're able to call each other out and say, I think you're being a dick, but I'm only telling you this because I love you and I want you to be a better version of you and I want you to be better than me. That's when it becomes possible. And I think it is very clear to me when I look at your family. I mean, obviously Instagram is never usually the best representation of who people are. We all know that. But I don't know what it was when I saw your Instagram. You can probably tell from the message that I sent you. Like I was really open about it. I just looked at you guys and I just thought, what you have here is beautiful. I love it. I really, really love it. There's you can see the connection there. Like you can see families, you can see them interact. But when I just watch your stories and your feed and stuff, I just feel a lot of love in that Instagram, man. It just like it comes across. It's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, and that. I suppose that's the one thing. I think, and you're right. I mean, Instagram, it is a business now for us. So what in those little squares, it's our shop window. I mean, we put the best stuff that we possibly can out there, but we also try and incorporate that, especially within stories and that storytelling, to be as open and transparent as possible. I mean, we're not great parents. I mean, there'll be a lot of people with opinions about our parenting skills. We are very laxed when it comes to parenting. I let them make their own mistakes. I'm very open to things about what they watch or what they hear from me and Claire. I would rather. I know what it's like to be in a strict environment, and then all you want to do is break out of that. And the way you get to do that, or for me, when I was a teenager, was that you rebel. If somebody tells you that you can't do something over and over again, I mean, it's natural that all we want to do is do that one thing that we can't do. So I try and be clear as well. We try and parent where we don't have, those ball and chain on so tightly. I mean, of course, we try and be sensible. Claire's a lot more sensible than I am. I will let my kids climb across a bridge and jump off into the river. Claire will be that person going, "You're a dickhead, don't do that." But I think, like you said, in terms of people having different jobs, that's the balance, that's the yin and the yang that we work. But ultimately, my kids I'd like to think in a position where they know right from wrong, even now, and know that if they heard, let's say, a swear word between me and Claire, or they heard it on the TV, that they wouldn't say it. And I do it, and I trust them, and I think they trust me. That it just works for us.
They'll be like, "Daddy lets us do fun stuff. Mummy keeps us alive." Like,
that's exactly that is exactly that. We always say that Daddy's the fighter, Mummy's the lover. That's what it's like in our house. But I could tell you. I mean, I could sit you for hours, Joe, and tell you about shit that we got up to when we were traveling. I let Kaylin climb a palm tree in the middle of the Malaysian jungle, covered with fucking these bloodthirsty ants, to then jump off in this river. Had crocodiles in it, but we both jumped off because it just seemed like the best thing to do. And Claire was in the boat, absolutely shitting herself. But that's what makes traveling fun, I suppose. We're still here to tell the story. That's the main thing.
I'm with you all day. You got me again. I was the same. Like, I grew up. My mum was a single mum. I didn't really see my real dad, and then she remarried, got my stepdad, and then for me it was like martial law. I was a wild kid. So the only way they could try and control me was go completely the other way and lock me down, and that did not go well. I went mental. I went absolutely mental, and it got really, really bad. And before you know it, I was living on my own by the time I was 17. So it's completely crazy, but I totally believe in your ethos when it comes to children. I feel like the battle with all parents, and I'm not a parent, so this is me talking from just what I observe and what I feel might be the case. I'm no expert for sure. But I always see the balance is trying to keep them safe while letting them learn for themselves, and see that, try and get the balance between those things. Because if you take away all experience, then there's no learning process. If you let them go too wild, then maybe they're not completely safe. So it's like, how do you find that balance? But from where I'm sat, I feel like the balance you have is amazing. I feel like that's how I would like to do it my way. Whether it's right, wrong, I'm not no person to comment really, but I just know that I would like to do it the same way you do. I want my children to make their own mistakes. They're going to get hurt. My kids are going to break things. They're definitely going to do stupid shit. They're probably doing stupid shit with me, and I'll be endorsing it, and I'll be like, yeah, that was a great idea. Because ultimately, that's where you learn. That's what I think.
No, 100%. Do you know what? Traveling has opened my eyes and their eyes. And you would see it in Bali. I mean, you've got 2-year-old, 3-year-old kids walking on the side of the road, whereas in the UK, or probably not just the UK, but everywhere, like, our kids are not street smart. And I don't just mean walking on pavements. There's the road, street smart. I just mean traditionally street smart. They're just not, because we baby them too much. Because we hear stories that we can't do that anymore because of this. I mean, if you go back 40, 50 years ago, where your mum and dad would used to tell you stories of how they used to just leave the front door open. I know we live in a society now where that can't happen, but then you travel halfway across the globe. I mean, you only have to walk down the street in somewhere like Bali or Thailand, and like, kids are so much more mature. And just getting on with it. They have so little, yet they're so happy, and they're miles ahead. And it's honestly, even for me as a 30-year-old man, I mean, you just think, wow. And that's the best. It's those things that, forget about the sights or the experiences, but it's the cultures and seeing how other people live, and that's the biggest learning curve for my children and me. I just because my kid, and that's the only. It's not a negative. In a way, it is. My kids are now ridiculously spoiled to the point that we could go somewhere, and if it hasn't got a pool or a mini fridge with M&Ms in it, they're kicking off. And so we've created monsters in that way. But it was never always like that. And so we stayed in some right dives when we first left, because the money just had to go further. But like I said, we're fortunate now that, if someone hasn't got aircon or a mini fridge, then they're 9 going on 39. Where's the aircon? Where's the mini fridge? But I'm just in a very fortunate position where I can give him a mini fridge, or at least I can buy him some M&Ms, and we're good.
I'm not sure I agree with you with that being a particular level of sport. I mean, I want aircon and I want a fridge. All right, no joke. Now, if they turn up and they're like, "Where the hell are my Gucci armbands?" That's a little bit more spoiled. I think that's a little bit of an issue. But wanting aircon, I really wouldn't hold that against anyone.
They're not that fired yet. Although they do, they're not part of the Gucci gang. Although they do some TikToks and they start singing that song, that scares me. But they're not there. But it's what I just hate. That's the one thing that we try and instill on them daily, is that I suppose every parent does it. Oh, you don't know how lucky you are. But that's a constant that we try and put in them. But it so helps going off the beacon track. I mean, right now we're in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. It's very touristy, but the majority of our travels, we try and get away from that, and we try and see the real country. And it's so much, it's enlightening to me, let alone them. But I think they do take it in. For 9, again, people might have an opinion on this, but they've been to the killing fields in Cambodia. They've gone to the Vietnam War. They've been at Ground Zero. In New York, they've done and seen an awful lot. The flip side of that, they've swum with whale sharks. They've visited numerous volcanoes and waterfalls, and so that's where you know how lucky you are. Constantly. Even our 7-month-year-old, has done shitloads, a lot more than I ever had at 7 months. But yeah, I can say they're looking at me now, Joe. They were supposed to be playing TikToks or doing something in the bedroom, giving me 2 minutes. But that's another thing. So bedtimes, we haven't really got a bedtime. I let them take charge of that. As long as they get up in the morning, they do their schoolwork. I mean, the day's theirs then. They can go to bed whenever they want. So they're peering over at me like that, giving me the daggers.
I think what you do, I think you're just doing is so counterintuitive, which is why you get pushback from it. Like there's so many people, because what I hear is what you're teaching these amazing kids is just different lessons to what we're conventionally taught. You have a different value system. So like, for example, rather than valuing how good you are at your 8 times table, you're valuing about how do you treat other children that are less fortunate than you. Like rather than valuing how much can you recite of this textbook, you're teaching what do you take from going to this particular historical location? What does this mean to you about human beings and how we behaved in the past? How do you want to behave in the future? These are all the kind of implicit lessons that I'm hearing. Like, I think the amount that children absorb at a young age, like prior to the age of 7 specifically, the amount they're going to be taking on by going to these different environments is incalculable. It's just not, you can't even compare it to like what a child's going to be learning in school. And the only reason people push back against that is because it's not what we conventionally value. And I feel like, for me personally, what you're instilling in these children is far more valuable, especially in the world we now live in, where remote working, like we live in a global community now, this is the future of the world.
Yeah,
I think you're equipping them far better to live in the world that was now being created than kids that are in a conventional education system.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you only got to look at the last 12 months. It doesn't take away travel, take away unconventional parenting traits or skills or whatever you want. The fact that children now have been homeschooled for the last sort of 12, 10 months. I mean, a lot of people at the beginning would see that as negative. I mean, what they're missing out on. But I never had that time with my parents. That's the main thing and the biggest positive. I mean, yeah, all that stuff that you just said, bang on, and that's the reason why we do it. But the main thing for me, having, I mean, different dynamic of fathers growing up, is just being there. It's just being there. It's just being able to sit down and have 3 meals with them. Being able to be the person that says good night, good morning. Like you can't put a price on that. So anybody that's struggled in the last 10, 12 months or is still struggling or is still worried about the impact or the effects of what COVID have done on their children, believe me, it would be all positive. I would have taken that as a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old all day long. Being stuck at home with my mum and dad. I know people would say that that's the worst nightmare, but when you haven't got that or when you haven't had that, I mean, it's, like I said, priceless. Absolutely priceless.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's an amazing point to end on. I think that's a really, really powerful message. I just want to say again how much you guys inspire me, you and Claire, what you're doing with your family. I love it. I think it's an inspiration for many other people out there. I feel like your values are very aligned with ours at Platinum University. We want to push back against what's conventional, what we're being conditioned to believe, and just show that there are different ways, whether it's for you or not. There's different options. Maybe people don't want to travel full time with their family. Maybe they don't want to work online, but just know that those possibilities are there and you can live in a different way if you want to. And I love that. So yeah, I want to see you guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. I love it.
Thank you, man. No, that's the reason. That's, like I said, we've got to where we've got to because of the work. I mean, Platinum University for us is that next step. It's this potentially that last door we need to open to make this long term. And it's been, even the short time that we've been involved, I mean, the community itself over anything else, it's been an eye opener, even for us. So yeah, I'll thank you and your co-founders for that. Thank
you very much. Please tell everyone where they can find you, man. Shout out, plug that Instagram, get people to follow it. I can vouch for it. I've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah. Thank you. I can't believe we're an hour in and this is the first time I've done it. But no, travel the world family. It's really easy. That's the goal. We want to see the world. So yeah, travel the world family Instagram.
Travel the world family. I'll make sure you get tagged in this. I'll make sure it's out there a little bit. So yeah, thank you very much, and I really appreciate it, man.
No worries, mate. Good night.
This is the Platinum Podcast.